She didn't sneak into a dangerous place. She didn't break any laws. She didn't even know she was in trouble. All she did was accept an invitation to a private luxury party where the money was easy. The rules were simple, and silence was mandatory. But somewhere between the champagne and the closed doors, she stopped being a guest and became something else. What happened to her was so disturbing that when she survived and tried to tell the world, the story vanished, articles deleted, witnesses silenced, and her name erased. Tonight, we're uncovering the story they didn't want remembered. And once you hear it, you'll never look at exclusive parties the same way again. Before we continue, please take a moment to tell us in the comments where you're watching from. You're part of this community. We'd love to hear from you. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. No one ever talks about the messages that come before the nightmare. They only talk about the aftermath, the scars, the headlines, the rumors that refuse to die. But long before the police reports, before the whispered forum posts, before the name, Dubai became something people said in fear. There was just a message on a phone screen and a promise that sounded too good to refuse. In late 2019, Alina Morozova was 22 years old and exhausted from surviving. She wasn't famous, at least not in the way people imagine. Her Instagram had a modest following. Her modeling work paid inconsistently, and every month felt like a balancing act between rent, food, and medication. Alina was a transgender woman living in Eastern Europe, navigating a world that barely tolerated her existence, let alone supported it. Her inbox was usually filled with spam and fake opportunities. But one message stood out. It came from a private account with no photos, only a gold emblem as a profile picture. We host exclusive international events. High-profile guests, discretion guaranteed, very high compensation. She ignored it at first. Then came another message, and another. Finally, a short video clip. Infinity pools, palm trees, luxury cars, champagne flutes catching sunlight. And one word beneath it, Dubai. Alina needed money, not for luxury, not for fame, for survival. Her hormone therapy alone cost more than she earned in a month. Surgeries were distant dreams. Every delay felt like living in someone else's body for another year. She had watched other models, some she personally knew, travel abroad and return transformed. New phones, designer bags, confident smiles. No one ever talked about the details. They never did. When Alina asked questions, the recruiter responded politely but vaguely. The guests value privacy. All participants sign confidentiality agreements. You will be treated with respect if you follow the rules. That last sentence lingered. If you follow the rules. She hesitated, but desperation has a way of silencing instinct. Within weeks, her ticket was booked. Alina wasn't always Alina. She was born Alexei Morozov on February 3, 1997, in a fading industrial city where everyone knew everyone, and difference never went unnoticed. Her father worked in metal fabrication. Her mother cleaned offices at night. They were practical people who believed in endurance, not dreams. As a child, Alexei never fit into the mold his environment demanded. He hated sports, loved fabrics, memorized faces instead of football scores. His parents thought it was a phase. School was worse. By his teenage years, Alexei learned the most important survival skill of all, silence. He hid who he was until the internet gave him language for what he felt. Gender dysphoria, transition, identity, words that felt dangerous but accurate. At 19, after leaving home for college, he chose a name, Alina. That was the first time life felt real. Dubai greeted Alina with heat that felt unreal. Everything was polished, controlled, perfect. She wasn't alone. At the hotel, she met other young women, models, influencers, escorts. Some cisgender, some transgender. All carefully curated. No one asked too many questions. Luxury sedated curiosity. They were driven to events in black SUVs. Phones were discouraged. Schedules were flexible and undefined. The first parties were harmless. Music, drinks, photos by the pool. Alina felt relieved. Maybe this was just another rich people fantasy world. But something was off. Some guests were never introduced. Certain doors were always guarded. Certain drinks were offered only to specific people. And sometimes someone wouldn't return. When Alina asked about a girl she'd met 2 nights earlier, the response was quick and cold. She has a private arrangement. Don't worry about it. Another night she noticed a woman stumbling, eyes unfocused, guided away by security. The pay doubled. So did the pressure. The invitation came near the end of her stay. Not a party, a private engagement. Outside the city, she was told her presence was unique. That word again. They offered her a drink before the drive, something to relax. She hesitated, but refusing felt dangerous. The villa was isolated. No neighbors, no music, no laughter. Only men in traditional robes and guards who never spoke. Inside, the air felt heavy, like something ancient and wrong had been waiting. The doors closed behind her, and that's where Alina's clear memories ended. Alina woke up choking on silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the heavy, unnatural silence that presses against your ear so hard it feels loud. Her head throbbed. Her mouth tasted bitter, metallic. For a moment, she didn't know where she was, or who she was supposed to be afraid of. Then she tried to move. Pain answered first. The other room. The room was dim, lit by a single low bulb that flickered like it might give up at any second. The walls were bare concrete, stained by age and moisture. The air smelled of chemicals and dust. Alina realized she was lying on a cold stone floor. Her wrists were bound. Her body felt heavy, unresponsive, as if it didn't fully belong to her anymore. She tried to speak. Nothing came out. Footsteps echoed somewhere above her. That was when panic finally broke through the fog. Later, much later, Alina would say the most terrifying part wasn't the pain. It was the missing time. She remembered entering the villa. She remembered the drink. She remembered the doors closing. And then, nothing. Just fragments. Shadows moving around her. Voices speaking a language she didn't understand. Hands pushing her forward. A sudden sharp impact behind her head. After that, the world went black. Now she was here. And she wasn't alone. Figures stood along the walls. Some watched her with curiosity. Others with something colder. They didn't rush. They didn't shout. They discussed her. Pointed. Gestured. She understood none of the words, but she understood the tone. She was no longer a person. She was an object, something to be evaluated. One man stepped closer. He crouched, tilted her chin upward with 2 fingers, studying her face like she was merchandise. Alina squeezed her eyes shut. That's when the first scream escaped her throat. It didn't help. They called it something ceremonial. That much she could tell. Candles were lit. Symbols were drawn. Music, low, rhythmic, unsettling, filled the room. Someone spoke loudly, as if delivering a speech. Others responded. Alina didn't understand the words, but she understood the intent. She was being punished. For what? For existing? She was accused of being unclean, of violating something sacred, of being a living contradiction. It didn't matter that none of it made sense. In that room, logic had no power. What followed would never leave her, not even under medication, not even in dreams where memories blur. She would later describe it in fragments, unable to form full sentences. Beatings, humiliation, mockery, not random violence but deliberate cruelty. They wanted to break her. At some point, pain overwhelmed consciousness, and that may have been mercy. Alina came back to herself in complete darkness. Her throat burned. Her body felt wrong, different. She tried to lift her arms. She couldn't. Panic surged until she noticed the tight bandages, soaked through, wrapped around her forearms. The pain arrived seconds later, sharp, consuming, unreal. She screamed until her voice disappeared. Someone shouted back. Another voice laughed. She understood then. They hadn't meant to kill her. They meant to keep her. Days blurred together. She was kept in a small room beneath the villa. Sometimes chained, sometimes watched. Food was minimal, water rationed. They spoke to her rarely, and when they did, it was to issue commands. Clean this, carry that, stay silent. She was hidden when new guests arrived. But at night, she heard screams from somewhere below or somewhere nearby. Sometimes they stopped suddenly. Sometimes they didn't. Alina learned not to ask questions. She asked herself that every day. Why mutilate her but not kill her? The answer revealed itself slowly. She was an example, a warning, a reminder of what happened when someone crossed invisible lines. And worse, she was entertainment. Weeks passed, or maybe days. Time had no meaning in the dark. Alina's wounds were crudely tended, just enough to keep her alive, just enough to prevent attention, just enough suffering. Her mind began to fracture. She stopped crying, stopped screaming. Survival became mechanical, until one night, everything changed. Shouting erupted upstairs, angry voices, heavy footsteps, something breaking. For the first time, guards were distracted. The door to her room wasn't fully secured. Her heart pounded so hard it hurt. She didn't think. She moved, dragging herself up, stumbling, bleeding. She found an open hallway, then a courtyard, then freedom. Alina climbed over a low wall, tearing open healing wounds. She didn't stop, didn't look back. She walked until her legs failed, until headlights blinded her. until hands grabbed her, but this time they didn't hurt. A stranger, a truck driver, a phone call, an ambulance, and finally, a hospital. Alina regained consciousness to the sound of machines. Soft beeping, muted voices. Pooh, the sterile smell of disinfectant. For a moment she thought she was dead. Then the pain reminded her otherwise. Doctors stood around her bed, speaking in hushed tones. Some stared openly, others avoided her eyes. Her injuries didn't make sense. They weren't consistent with an accident. They weren't consistent with self-harm. They weren't consistent with anything they had seen before. When they asked what happened, Alina tried to explain. At first, the words wouldn't come. Her throat closed. Her hands trembled. Then the story spilled out in broken pieces. A party, a villa, men, rituals, captivity. The room went quiet. One doctor finally spoke. That's not possible. But the evidence was wrapped in bandages. Hospital staff contacted local authorities. Officers arrived, took notes, asked routine questions. Their expressions never changed. No urgency, no outrage, no shock. They suggested alternatives. Maybe she was attacked by criminals. Maybe she wandered somewhere unsafe. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. Alina felt something cold settle in her chest. They weren't investigating. They were managing. She asked them to check the villa, to look at the guards, to trace the recruiters. They nodded and did nothing. Within hours, the tone shifted. She was advised not to give interviews, not to speak publicly, not to speculate. It could harm ongoing inquiries. But there were no inquiries. Alina didn't intend to become public. But someone noticed. A nurse took a photo. A friend posted a message. A name leaked. Within a day, small online outlets picked it up. Young model found severely injured after attending elite private events. Then another headline. Transgender woman alleges ritual abuse in captivity. Activists reacted. Comments exploded. Questions spread faster than answers. For the first time, Alina felt hope. The hope didn't last. One by one, the articles vanished. Links broke. Pages returned errors. Journalists stopped responding. A reporter who had contacted her earlier sent one final message. I'm sorry. I can't continue with this. No explanation. No goodbye. That night, strangers appeared outside her hospital room. Not police, not doctors. Men in plain clothes. No badges. No names. They didn't threaten her. They didn't need to. They suggested rest. Privacy, discretion. They reminded her she was a foreigner. That misunderstandings happen. That powerful people don't like rumors. The message was clear. Disappear quietly or be made invisible. The next morning, hospital staff told her she was being released. She wasn't healed. She wasn't stable. But suddenly, there were no beds available. She was escorted out. Still weak, still terrified. Friends helped her hide. And then, leave. Through unofficial channels. Through favors and silence. Through fear. Alina crossed borders under a different name. No announcements, no records. When she finally arrived back in Eastern Europe, she collapsed into private care. Rehabilitation was brutal. Physical pain, psychological nightmares, paranoia. She slept with lights on, jumped at every noise, stopped trusting phones, doors, people. But she survived. While Alina vanished from public view, the story didn't die. It moved underground. Anonymous forums, private groups, encrypted chats. Users with strange usernames began sharing eerily similar accounts. Different names, different villas, same patterns, private parties, NDAs, isolation. Some stories ended safely, others did not. One user claimed to know multiple victims. Another said they had worked events and seen people disappear. A third posted blurry images, basements, stained floors, unfamiliar walls. Nothing conclusive, but too consistent to ignore. Debates erupted. Was it exaggerated? Was it a hoax? Or was something being hidden deliberately? Two camps formed. Those who believed, those who didn't. Some insisted the events were harmless luxury gatherings. Follow the rules and nothing happens. Others disagreed. You don't know which door leads where. And then came the most chilling detail. Multiple accounts claimed transgender guests were considered special, rare, exotic, disposable. Alina read everything. She never commented, never confirmed, never denied. She knew the cost of speaking. Her body was healing, but the world she once believed in was gone. By the time Alina's name stopped appearing in public spaces, something else had begun to grow quietly online. Not headlines, not news reports, but whispers. They lived in places most people never visit. Anonymous forums, encrypted groups, invite-only chat rooms where usernames mattered more than real names. That's where the story refused to die. The first detailed post appeared under the username Glass Echo. No profile picture, no personal details, just a long message titled, "I believe her, because I was there too." Glass Echo claimed to have attended 3 elite private events in the Gulf region between late 2019 and early 2020. According to them, most parties were exactly what people imagined. Luxury, money, silence, but not all. There are different tiers, the post read. Most people never see the lower levels. They described restricted rooms, separate guest lists, guards who answered to no one, and then came the line that froze readers. Once someone is taken downstairs, they don't come back the same, or at all. Days later, another account appeared, Night Palm. This user didn't claim to be a victim, but a witness. They said they worked logistics, transportation, scheduling. Their job was to make sure people arrived and left. Sometimes names were removed from the departure list, they wrote. We were told not to ask why. Night Palm claimed transgender guests were often labeled separately in internal notes, not officially, but unmistakably. Then came the images, posted by a user called Low Signal. Grainy, dark, almost useless. Almost. A concrete room, a drain in the floor, dark stains that didn't need explanation, a shadowed figure curled against a wall. No faces, no landmarks. Skeptics dismissed them immediately. Staged, fake, fear bait. But others noticed something disturbing. The layout matched descriptions from multiple unrelated accounts. Too closely. Not everyone agreed. Another user stepped forward. Silver Route. They claimed to have attended similar events for weeks without harm. They described respectful hosts, clear boundaries, excellent pay. Nothing bad happens if you don't break the rules, they wrote. This post divided the community instantly. Some found relief, others felt anger, because buried inside that defense was an uncomfortable implication. That safety depended on obedience. As more people spoke, an invisible rulebook emerged. Never film, never ask questions, never wander, never refuse certain requests, and above all, never stand out. Those who followed these rules often left unharmed. Those who didn't disappeared from conversations, from contacts, from memory. One anonymous post shook even the skeptics. It was short. No drama, no accusations. Just this. I heard someone screaming below the villa. I packed my bag and ran before sunrise. I don't know who it was. I don't want to know. No replies followed. The thread went silent for hours. Readers demanded names, addresses, evidence. The response was always the same. If you expose them, you don't survive. Users explained how NDAs were backed by threats, how phones were checked, how surveillance was constant. One mistake meant losing everything, or worse. Fear wasn't speculation, it was policy. As the threads grew longer, a pattern became impossible to ignore. Not every party was dangerous, not every guest was a predator, but the system allowed for abuse to exist unchecked. And in systems like that, the most vulnerable pay first. Someone finally mentioned her directly, not accusing, not questioning, just acknowledgement. If even half of this is true, she wasn't an exception. The replies flooded in: agreement, regret, guilt, because many realized something terrifying. They had been lucky, and luck is not protection. Then, suddenly, entire discussions disappeared, accounts deleted, messages erased, forums locked. Moderators cited policy violations, but users suspected pressure. Someone didn't like the conversation, someone powerful. When the last forum thread disappeared, many assumed the story had finally reached its end. No more posts, no more anonymous confessions, no more leaked images, just silence. But silence in stories like this is never empty, it's deliberate. Alina never returned to social media. No updates, no statements, no interviews. People speculated endlessly. Some said she changed her identity again. Others believed she was forced into permanent hiding. A few cruel voices claimed she had invented everything. The truth was simpler and far sadder. She chose to survive quietly. Rehabilitation took more than a year. Physical recovery was slow. Psychological recovery was worse. Crowded places terrified her. Men in uniforms triggered panic. Luxury imagery made her physically sick. She moved cities, then countries, then disappeared into anonymity. Not because she lied, but because telling the truth nearly destroyed her twice. Alina learned something most people never have to understand. Truth only matters when someone powerful allows it to. She had evidence, she had scars, she had witnesses somewhere, but none of it mattered without protection. And protection was never offered. The forums may be gone, but the industry didn't collapse. Private parties still exist, Recruiters still send messages. NDAs are still signed. Some people still return unharmed, wealthier than before. Others never post again. The difference isn't morality. It's placement. Who invited you? Which door you were led through? What someone decided you were worth. Because too many versions exist. Too many similarities. Too many near-identical warnings. Too many people who say, I almost went. Or worse, I went and I was lucky. Luck should never be a safety strategy. Were these isolated incidents? Or symptoms of something larger that thrives in secrecy, money, and silence? No arrests were made. No official investigations were concluded. No statements were issued, which leaves only one certainty. If this had never happened, there would be nothing to hide. According to someone who spoke with her months later, Alina shared one final thought before cutting contact completely. The scariest part isn't what they did to me. It's how easily it was erased. Stories like this are uncomfortable. They challenge fantasies. They threaten powerful illusions. They force people to admit that luxury and cruelty can exist side by side. Some will dismiss it. Some will believe it. Some will pretend they never heard it. But for those listening closely, the warning is clear. Easy money is never free. Secrecy always protects someone. And silence is often the loudest confession of all.